look for hope in your life, and how do you find joy in life?
I do now. Is the aim of life to be joy? I thought utility was better, and I'm an old-fashioned Puritan. That, to the extent something is useful, it is worthwhile. And you never get tired of trying to be useful, because you never really succeed. We must learn modesty.
What are your views on, memories on Jack and Jacqueline Kennedy?
Oh, very amiable. He was genuinely witty, which does not run in our presidents. And I was talking earlier, he firmly expected to be court-martialed for having lost PT 109 when he got back by the Navy. And next thing he knows, he's a world national hero because his father has bought a writer called John Hersey, who writes about this brave young man who did so much for the Republic. And I said, I did nothing but lose the ship. Fate is peculiar. But I miss him, he was somebody. There are days when I find something that I find funny and I want to tell him about it. There are not many people you ever feel that way about it. And he got the point to the jokes. Even the jokes about his own family, whom he did not revere as much as so many of the Kennedyites did. They were quite craven around the president, but he didn't think of them as hallowed by any means. I remember a lady journalist was asking him about his father's ambitions for his children and so on, and wasn't it wonderful that now that he was president, many of those were being fulfilled. Teddy had a seat in the Senate, and Bobby was Attorney General. And how he always thought of his family first, said this poor woman. And Jack said, yes, it was pure vanity. So much for that. To have a realist as president is quite a rare thing with us.
But despite the fact of being so close to them, when you wrote about them, you were very, very harsh.
No, I wasn't very harsh.
Well, you did say Kennedy was one of the worst presidents ever, and Bobby was a phony, and their father should be put in jail for.
No,
I suppose it could have been.
I think you've added to the text.
I don't know. I've got a lot of quotes down here.
They have lawyers too. No, his father was not an admirable man. He wanted England to just sink to the bottom of the sea, and that we should throw in our lot with Hitler, which was not a kind thing to do. And otherwise, I don't realize the invasion of Cuba as being a great activity. It just strikes me as un-American. Why am I doing Ronald Reagan now? I suppose I'm turning into Ronald Reagan. Great heart.
Who's got a microphone now? Here? So it's quite difficult to see because it's in the dark, so if you help up. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Vidal, if any book, which inspired you to become a writer?
Any book what?
All right. If any book, which inspired you to become a writer?
The Arabian Nights, in the Lane translation. I was not allowed to do earlier ones, to my regret. Real education would have started much earlier. as soon as I read a book I liked, I'd sit down and try to write one. It's a bad habit.
What do you think you found in Arabian Nights, to continue with the young man?
Magic. The world needs more of it. Fatalism. It's really it's very cold. Maruf, the poor cobbler, and the jinn comes up to meet him in the desert. I used to be able to visualize things I was reading, even Homer. I worked out that the tents of the Greeks on the shore were black. And I asked an expert on tents. He said, I think they were too. I have one of those weird sort of memories that I can start to visualize almost anything, correctly or incorrectly, doesn't matter. It's just there. It adds to the joy. And hope, madam, hope.
Glasses. Got a mic? There?
Mr. Vidal, I'm wondering about your skepticism about American involvement in World War II. Given the Japanese had launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, what do you think should have been done? As an Australian, we're very grateful for that involvement and have been prostituting ourselves to US foreign policy ever since, out of that gratitude.
How do you know Pearl Harbor was a surprise to President Roosevelt? He expected it, and he had been provoking them. And he said, and he's on record several times as saying this to people like Robert Sherwood, quite a good writer who wrote speeches for him in the White House. And he said, look, this cannot be Roosevelt's war. It will not be popular with the American people. They must strike the first blow, and there was their fleet heading toward Pearl Harbor. And a cousin of mine, Admiral Richards, was in charge of the fleet, which was sunk to the bottom. And Roosevelt wouldn't let them go to their home port, which was San Diego. They just sat there and sank. This is one of those things. Was this cause beneficial in its effect in the long run? It gets rid of Hitler. Takes a lot of evil out of the world, but it may be adding some more. So, the causal events in history are not easy to grasp. But certainly, I remember Mr. Roosevelt saying the White House was like a morgue, because everybody knew this blow was coming. And the president knew it, and he wasn't going to take any prophylactic action, and did not.
Who is that at the back? Yes.
If I may come back to the present, Barack Obama is elected President of the United States. He's promising change, great enthusiasm across the country. What does he have to do in order to make you less sad to be an American?
I'll be very sad when he's shot. I don't want us going back to old methods. I would say he was in considerable danger.